there exists a truth that moves beneath the surface of what we commonly understand about parenthood. A truth that transforms the entire meaning of why a specific child came into your life. This is not about chance. It is not about biology alone. It is about a sacred agreement made long before the first breath, before the first cry, before even the moment of conception. Edgar, the renowned spiritual teacher and mystic, spent decades exploring the mysteries of the soul's journey. Through his work, a profound revelation emerged. No child arrives by accident. Every parent-child relationship is rooted in a covenant established in the realm beyond this physical existence, a place where souls gather, plan, and promise to help each other evolve. Before you were born, before your child was born, you existed as consciousness, pure, aware, and connected to the greater wisdom of the universe. In that state, you could see the patterns of your spiritual evolution, the lessons you needed to learn, and the karmic debts that required resolution. And in that sacred space, you encountered the soul who would one day become your child. This encounter was not random. It was deliberate, intentional, and filled with purpose. You recognized each other, not as strangers, but as ancient companions who had traveled together through multiple lifetimes. Perhaps in another existence, you were siblings. Perhaps you were friends, or even adversaries. Perhaps one of you wronged the other, or one saved the other. The details vary, but the principle remains constant. You share a history that extends far beyond this present incarnation. In that pre-birth meeting, you made promises to each other. You agreed to come together again, this time in the roles of parent and child, to complete what was left unfinished. You volunteered to be each other's teachers, mirrors, and catalysts for transformation. Your child's soul looked at yours and said, "I will help you heal what you could not heal before." And your soul responded, "I will provide you with the circumstances you need to grow." This is the essence of the soul's pact, a mutual commitment to spiritual education through the intimate bond of family. When you hold your child for the first time, you are not simply meeting someone new. You are reuniting with a soul who has known you across eternity, who has chosen you specifically because of what you can offer each other in this lifetime. The circumstances of your child's arrival, whether planned or unexpected, whether easy or difficult, are part of this agreement. The timing, the conditions, even the challenges surrounding their birth are not obstacles but opportunities embedded in the contract you both made. If your child came during a period of hardship, it is because that hardship was necessary for the lessons you both needed to learn. If they came when you felt unprepared, it is because your sense of inadequacy is precisely what their presence will help you overcome. Understanding this transforms everything. Parenthood is no longer merely a biological function or a social role. It becomes a spiritual vocation, a calling that you accepted before you even entered this body. Every moment of frustration, every sleepless night, every conflict, and every joy is part of the curriculum you designed together. Your child is not here to fit into your plans. You are both here to fulfill a plan that transcends your individual desires. This also means that the qualities your child possesses, their temperament, their struggles, their gifts, are not random genetic lottery results. They are specifically calibrated to trigger your growth. If your child is particularly stubborn, it may be because you need to learn patience. If they are unusually sensitive, it may be because you need to develop greater emotional awareness. If they challenge your authority, it may be because you need to examine your relationship with power and control. The soul's pact includes not only lessons, but also healing. Many parent-child relationships exist specifically to resolve wounds from previous lifetimes. Perhaps in another existence, you abandoned this soul when they needed you, and now you have the opportunity to be present. Perhaps they betrayed you once, and this lifetime offers them the chance to demonstrate loyalty. Perhaps you both participated in a painful separation, and this bond allows you to experience reunion and unconditional love. This understanding requires a shift in perspective. Instead of seeing your child as someone you must shape and mold, you begin to recognize them as a spiritual equal who has temporarily taken the form of youth. Their dependency is physical, not spiritual. In the realm of the soul, they possess wisdom and experience that may rival or exceed your own. They have incarnated in a vulnerable state not because they are less evolved, but because vulnerability itself is the gateway to profound transformation for both of you. The agreement you made before birth also included specific themes and patterns that would characterize your relationship. These themes often echo unresolved issues from past lives. If communication was difficult between you in another existence, you will find that communication becomes a central challenge and opportunity in this life. If trust was broken before, rebuilding trust will be a major aspect of your journey together. If love was conditional or withheld, this lifetime offers the sacred space to practice unconditional acceptance. When you grasp the depth of this pre-birth covenant, you stop asking, "Why is this so hard?" and start asking, "What are we here to learn?" You stop resenting the difficulties and start recognizing them as the very curriculum you volunteered to complete. You understand that your child is not making your life difficult. They are helping you access the parts of yourself that have always been difficult, so those parts can finally be healed. This is why certain children come to certain parents. It is not about worthiness or punishment. It is about compatibility of purpose. Your soul and your child's soul aligned in their evolutionary goals and recognize that together you could accelerate each other's spiritual progress. You are not random assignments. You are perfect matches for the work that needs to be done. The soul's pact is ultimately about love, not the sentimental, conditional love of personality, but the fierce, transformative love of spirit. It is the love that says, "I will be your mirror so you can see yourself clearly. I will be your challenge so you can discover your strength. I will be your teacher, even while appearing to be your student. And through our bond, we will both remember who we truly are." When you look at your child, you are looking at a reflection of yourself, but not in the way you might think. This is not about genetics or learned behavior alone. This is about vibration, frequency, and the invisible threads that connect your soul to theirs. Your child is a living mirror, reflecting back to you the parts of yourself that remain unresolved, unhealed, and awaiting transformation. This is the law of karmic mirroring, a principle that reveals why certain behaviors, emotions, and patterns in your child trigger such intense reactions within you. These reactions are not accidental. They are designed. They are pointing you toward the exact places in your consciousness that require attention, healing, and evolution. Consider the moments when your child's behavior frustrates you most deeply. Perhaps they are defiant, refusing to listen or follow guidance. Perhaps they are overly emotional, crying at what seems like nothing. Perhaps they are withdrawn, unable or unwilling to express what they feel. Whatever the behavior, notice your reaction. Notice the intensity of it. That intensity is the signal that something within you, something from this life or from lifetimes past, is being activated. Your child is not simply acting out. They are acting out your unresolved material. Their defiance may be reflecting your own suppressed rebellion, the times you wanted to say no but couldn't, the authority you submitted to against your true will, the voice you silenced to keep peace. Their emotional sensitivity may be mirroring the feelings you learned to bury, the tears you were told were weakness, the vulnerability you were taught to hide. Their withdrawal may be showing you your own disconnection, the walls you built to protect yourself, the isolation you chose because intimacy felt too dangerous. This mirroring operates on multiple levels simultaneously. On the surface level, you may recognize behavioral patterns that resemble your own, your temper, your stubbornness, your anxiety. But beneath that surface lies something far more profound. Your child is reflecting your spiritual curriculum. They are embodying the lessons you came here to learn, presenting them to you in a form you cannot ignore. If you struggle with control, you will likely have a child who resists being controlled. If you fear abandonment, your child may exhibit behaviors that trigger that fear. If you carry shame about your worthiness, your child will create situations that force you to confront that shame. This is not punishment. This is precision. The universe, in its infinite intelligence, has arranged the perfect circumstances for your awakening. The vibrational nature of this mirroring is crucial to understand. Your child does not consciously choose these behaviors to antagonize you. They are responding to the energetic field you carry. Children are extraordinarily sensitive to vibration. They feel what you feel, even when you hide it. They sense what you believe, even when you don't speak it. And they unconsciously adjust their behavior to match the frequency you emit. When you carry unresolved anger, your child will either express that anger outwardly or absorb it inwardly, becoming anxious or withdrawn. When you operate from fear, your child will manifest situations that activate your fear, giving you endless opportunities to choose courage instead. When you live with guilt or shame, your child will somehow embody those energies, showing you through their struggles what you have been denying in yourself. This is why traditional parenting approaches often fail. They attempt to change the child's behavior without addressing the parent's consciousness. But the child is not the source of the problem. They are the messenger. Punishing the messenger does not resolve the message. Controlling their behavior does not heal your vibration. The only path to lasting change is to work on yourself, to heal what they are reflecting, to transform the frequency you are broadcasting. The mirror also shows you your gifts, your strengths, and your potential. When your child displays courage, they are reflecting the courage that lives within you, waiting to be claimed. When they show compassion, they are mirroring the tenderness you have perhaps been afraid to express. When they pursue their passions with determination, they are showing you what becomes possible when you stop betraying your own dreams. This bidirectional mirroring is essential to grasp. Your child reflects both your shadows and your light. They show you what needs healing and what deserves celebration. They remind you of who you have forgotten you are and who you are becoming. Every quality you admire in them exists in you. Every quality that challenges you also exists in you. They are the full spectrum mirror of your soul. The karmic aspect of this mirroring extends across lifetimes. Patterns that could not be resolved in previous incarnations resurface in the parent-child dynamic, offering a new opportunity for completion. If you were once powerless and now seek to dominate, your child will resist your dominance until you find balance. If you were once abandoned and now cling desperately, your child will pull away until you learn to trust. If you were once betrayed and now withhold trust, your child will create situations that ask you to risk vulnerability again. These karmic patterns are not linear. Your child may be mirroring something you experienced as a child yourself, creating a multi-generational echo that seeks resolution. They may be reflecting a dynamic you had with your own parents, giving you the chance to break the cycle. Or they may be showing you a pattern from a completely different lifetime, one you cannot consciously remember but your soul knows intimately. Recognizing the mirror requires brutal honesty. It requires you to stop blaming your child and start examining yourself. It requires you to ask, what in me is creating this? What in me is this pointing toward? What am I being asked to heal? These questions are uncomfortable because they strip away the illusion that you are the victim of your child's behavior. But this discomfort is the doorway to liberation for both of you. When you begin to heal what the mirror reveals, something extraordinary happens. Your child's behavior begins to shift, not because you forced it, but because the vibrational pattern that was generating it has changed. You are no longer broadcasting the frequency that required that particular reflection. The mirror adjusts to show you the next layer, the next lesson, the next opportunity for growth. This is the perpetual nature of karmic mirroring. As you evolve, the reflection evolves. As you heal, new depths are revealed. Your child continues to serve as your most accurate spiritual feedback system, always showing you exactly where you are in your development and exactly where you are being called to go next. The ultimate purpose of this mirroring is to bring you into complete self-awareness and self-acceptance. Your child is teaching you to see yourself clearly without judgment or denial. They are training you to embrace all aspects of your being, the light and the shadow, the strength and the weakness, the divinity and the humanity. Through this unconditional seeing, you learn unconditional love, first for yourself and then for them. Everything you have learned, the the soul's pact, the karmic mirroring, the spiritual agreements made before birth, all of it points toward a single, transformative destination: the evolution of love itself. This is not the love you were taught. This is not the conditional affection that says, "I will love you if you behave, if you succeed, if you make me proud." This is something far more powerful, far more demanding, and far more liberating. Unconditional love is the ultimate spiritual practice, and parenthood is its most rigorous training ground. Every other spiritual discipline, meditation, prayer, service, devotion, prepares you for this singular challenge: to love another soul completely, without agenda, without expectation, without the need for them to be anything other than what they are. This is why you became this child's parent. Not to shape them into your image, not to fulfill your unfulfilled dreams, not to validate your worth or give your life meaning. You became their parent to learn what it means to love without conditions, and in doing so, to remember your own divine nature. Your child arrived as a sacred teacher, disguised as someone who needs teaching. They came appearing vulnerable, dependent, and incomplete. But this appearance is the very mechanism through which your heart opens. Their helplessness invites your protection. Their innocence calls forth your tenderness. Their struggles awaken your compassion. And through these responses, you begin to access a quality of love that transcends the ego's limitations. The ego loves conditionally because it operates from fear and scarcity. It says, "I will love you because you belong to me, because you reflect well on me, because you meet my needs." The ego sees the child as an extension of itself, and therefore it cannot truly see the child at all. It sees only its own projections, its own expectations, its own insecurities. Unconditional love requires the ego's dissolution. It requires you to recognize that this child is not yours. They belong to themselves, to their own soul's journey, to the universe that sent them. Your role is not to possess, but to steward, not to control, but to guide, not to mold, but to witness and support their unfolding. This recognition transforms everything. When you stop trying to make your child into what you think they should be, you create space for them to reveal who they actually are. When you release your attachment to specific outcomes, you discover that your child's path, however different from what you imagined, has its own wisdom and validity. When you stop needing them to validate you, you free both of you from an impossible burden. The practice of unconditional love in parenthood means loving your child when they disappoint you. It means loving them when they reject your advice, when they make choices you disagree with, when they fail to appreciate your sacrifices. It means loving them when their behavior triggers your deepest wounds, when their struggles activate your most profound fears, when their independence feels like abandonment. This is not easy. It is in fact the most difficult thing you will ever do. It requires you to feel the full intensity of your conditional programming, all the ways you were taught that love must be earned, that acceptance must be deserved, that belonging requires conformity, and then consciously choose differently. It requires you to break generational patterns of conditional affection and establish a new foundation based on spiritual truth. Some children come specifically to test the boundaries of your love. They arrive with behaviors, conditions, or characteristics that society judges harshly. They may struggle with learning, with health, with emotional regulation, with social acceptance. They may choose paths that embarrass you, beliefs that contradict yours, lifestyles that challenge your values. And through all of this, they are asking one fundamental question: will you still love me? Will you love me anyway? Will you love me especially when I am most unlovable? Your answer to this question, demonstrated not through words, but through presence, patience, and persistent care, determines whether you fulfill your spiritual contract. Every time you choose love over judgment, acceptance over rejection, compassion over criticism, you are completing karma. You are healing wounds from this life and previous lives. You are breaking chains that have bound your lineage for generations. There are also children who come as natural embodiments of unconditional love, teaching through their example rather than through challenge. These souls arrive with an extraordinary capacity for forgiveness, for joy, for seeing the good in everyone. They love freely, trust easily, and forgive quickly. They have not yet learned the ego's defenses, the heart's armor, the mind's cynicism. And by witnessing their openness, you remember your own original innocence. These children ask you to protect their tenderness without hardening it, to prepare them for the world's harshness without making them harsh, to help them develop healthy boundaries without teaching them to close their hearts. This requires you to model the balance they need, to be both strong and soft, both discerning and open, both wise and innocent. The spiritual inversion often occurs in these relationships. The child who appears to need your teaching becomes your greatest teacher. They show you what you have forgotten, that love is the natural state, that separation is the illusion, that every soul deserves reverence simply because it exists. Their presence invites you to soften your judgments, question your assumptions, and return to a more fundamental way of being. As you practice unconditional love with your child, you begin to extend it to yourself. You realize that the harshness you direct toward them often mirrors the harshness you carry toward your own imperfections. You see that the conditions you place on their worthiness reflect the conditions you place on your own. And as you learn to accept them completely, you simultaneously learn to accept yourself completely. This is the great secret. Unconditional love of another is impossible without unconditional love of self. The two are inseparable. Every judgment you release about your child is a judgment you release about yourself. Every moment of patience you offer them is patience you are cultivating within. Every time you choose understanding over condemnation, you are rewiring your entire relationship with being human. The ultimate purpose of the parent-child bond is mutual ascension. You do not raise your child while remaining unchanged yourself. You rise together. They elevate you through their challenges and their gifts. You elevate them through your evolving capacity to love without limits. And in this reciprocal lifting, both souls move closer to their divine source. When the karmic contract is fulfilled, when the lessons are learned, when the wounds are healed, when unconditional love becomes your default rather than your aspiration, the relationship transforms. It becomes less about teaching and learning, less about healing and growing, and more about simple, sacred companionship. Two souls who chose each other before birth, who walked a difficult path together, who polished each other through friction and tenderness, now standing as equals in the light of shared understanding. This is why you became this child's parent. To remember that love is not something you do, but something you are. To discover that beneath all the roles, all the struggles, all the complexity, there is only this: one soul recognizing itself in another, one heart opening to encompass all hearts, one consciousness awakening to its true nature through the mirror of relationship. Your child did not come to complete you. They came to reveal that you were never incomplete. They came to show you that the love you seek outside yourself has always lived within. And through the sacred, demanding, beautiful work of parenthood, you finally come home to this truth. The journey is complete. The teaching is eternal. The love is infinite. If this message resonated with your soul, subscribe to continue this spiritual journey together. Share in the comments below. What has your child taught you about unconditional love? Your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. Let's create a community of conscious parents awakening to this sacred truth.